Guys, I know it's gonna be a good video when I start off the video with like a gigantic stack of eyeshadow palettes behind me. I am going to do the eyeshadow wardrobe palette tag today. So I apologize if you can hear some lawn mowing, wood chipping, something happening outside. It's very loud, I'm sorry. But this tag was started by Charlotte Holdcraft and Morgan Turner, but I actually saw Samantha March and Kelly Gooch do this tag first, so I will link all their channels down below so you guys can go check their videos out if you enjoy this one. Oh, is it done? It's done. Oh, thank goodness. I was afraid it was going to do that the whole time. But basically the premise of this tag is they give you a list of different scenarios and you have to choose which eyeshadow palette you would wear to those different scenarios. So I've seen it done a couple of different ways. Like some people share the palette that they actually like wore to that occasion, or some people are like, well, if I was going to one today, this is what I would wear. That's kind of more the approach that I took with it, even though I have worn those palettes for those certain occasions. But without further ado, let's hop into it. Let's hop into the eyeshadow, you guys. Alright, you guys, so the first prompt is what you would wear to a wedding. So it's been a while since I've attended a wedding. I don't foresee myself attending a wedding in the near future. But when I think of wedding makeup, I think of soft tones, like soft glam tones. But even if I'm not like doing makeup on a bride or something, which I've never done, that would be kind of fun though. Anyways, every time I think of a wedding, I think of like soft romantic tones for the guests, for the bride, for the bridesmaids, and for my go-to palette for those is the new Nude palette, you guys. This palette is so cohesive. Like, a lot of people have critiqued this palette in the past, saying that they feel like they can't really get any truly different looks out of it. They all end up looking kind of the same. But I feel like that's what kind of makes it perfect for a wedding, especially if I was going to be doing makeup on like multiple guests or multiple bridesmaids. I feel like I kind of like the fact that it's really foolproof, and I also like that especially for myself because I tend to do this thing where I think I have so much time to get ready and then I don't have so much time to get ready because I spend too long on my hair because I'm bad at my hair, and then I have to rush through my makeup. So I love having a palette like this on hand for special events where it's all just very cohesive, very brainless. I could probably put 2 different shades on my eyes, like 2 of these lighter shades right here, and it would be fine. Like, you wouldn't even be able to tell. So I really love how foolproof this one is, and I feel like these tones are just really universally flattering. They look really beautiful on blue eyes, on brown eyes, on green eyes, so I would probably choose this palette. Next category is for date night. So my boyfriend and I don't really do like super fancy date nights. Sometimes I wish that we would because I love any excuse to dress up. I have like so many cute dresses in my closet. I'm like, we just need to go on a fancy dinner date and then I can wear those. But alas, we usually end up just doing something really casual, like going mini golfing or going to the park or going to dinner, like a casual dinner thing, not a fancy one. And so when I go on a date, I like to look like myself, but a little bit more polished, and I like to wear the tones that I feel best in, and for me those are warm peachy tones. So for date night I chose the Sigma Corderosa palette. I just feel so fantastic every time I wear this palette, you guys. These tones are all so flattering on my skin tone, so flattering on my eye color. It just really makes my eyes pop, and that's definitely part of the reason why I love to grab this palette for date night. Another thing is when my boyfriend and I have date night, we're almost always eating something. So I really do like to play at my eyes versus like playing at my lips. So I love to go for these tones, really do something a little smoky, and then go for like a nude gloss on the lips so I can chow down on whatever meal I'm getting without worrying about it going all over my mouth. Again, I feel like this is a very seamless palette. There aren't 2 colors in this palette that I feel like if I put them next to each other, it's going to look weird or they won't flow nicely into each other. And again, I do that thing where I think I have like 2 hours to get ready and it really is not that long. So this was my pick for date night. Kind of the same story with girls night, which is the next prompt. My closest friend and I, we don't really go out a whole lot. We're more like homebody people. We're more like Vampire Diaries on the couch with some wine and some popcorn girls. Although I do often do our makeup for the couch. That's quite often like the first part of girls night. We'll like munch on some snacks, I'll do both of our makeup, and then we'll sit on the couch and watch the Vampire Diaries for a couple hours. But for me, if I was doing just my own makeup for girls night, I think I would go with the Goddess palette from Alter Ego. There's actually another palette that I probably would pick over this one, but I mentioned it for another category, so I wanted to branch out a little bit. But these tones are just so much fun. I feel like they're so glam and so fun, and for some reason, like when I'm going on like a girls night, I want to go like big and smoky, and I love creating a blue smoky eye with this palette, or like a blue-green mustard smoky eye. Like, that's just my jam. I feel freaking fantastic in these tones, and it's just flirty and it's sassy. I can go really bold, I can go really natural, whatever I'm feeling, and I just really like it. Alright, you guys, the next prompt is vacation. So I kind of took this as like I'm going on a longer vacation and I'm flying, so I need to either pack something small or skinny or something along those lines. And I have this thing where I go on vacation where I think I'm gonna do like glam makeup every night to go out to dinner. I'm gonna do my makeup all the time. I'm gonna have makeup playtime while I'm on vacation, and then I end up wearing like no makeup. So usually I end up packing like a couple palettes and then I end up using none of them. So instead, I decided to pack one very large palette, and for that I chose So Jaded from ColourPop. I feel like this palette has just a really nice range of colors. It has, I hesitate to even really call it a color story because I feel like it's just almost like a grungy rainbow palette, which is not bad at all. I love a good grungy rainbow. But I just love the gamut of the spectrum that this palette runs because I am horribly indecisive and I'm horrible at like predicting what I'm gonna want when I'm traveling, which is why I end up packing so many things. I'm a classic overpacker. I overpack my makeup, I overpack my clothes, I just pack a lot of stuff. But I feel like this palette really has all that I could really want, or I could make it work for a short time period. I feel like there's some really like pretty midtones right here that would make a gorgeous like warm daytime look. There's some gorgeous jewel tones right here if I wanted to go for something a bit sultrier, more jewel toned, a little bit more colorful for nighttime. And I just think this is a really great travel palette. It's really like compact for as big of a palette as it is. It's very thin. And it's on the more, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's on the more inexpensive side. I don't really love to travel with like super expensive palettes because I'm always a little bit paranoid that they're gonna shatter. Then I'll be really sad. But this one's on the more affordable side, and it just has a really great range of options, and I'm very indecisive, so that's kind of what I need when I travel. Next up we have graduation, and this one was like a little challenging for me because I'm actually graduating in December and I have not given any thought to what makeup I'm gonna wear, which I guess it's a little ways away, but usually I like love to plan out like makeup for like big special events in my life. But I'm kind of thinking that like I won't even have like a graduation with like everything that's going on, which I'm okay with. I feel like my mom's more upset than I am, but like I'm like, I know I passed college, like I just want to get through this. But anyways, I feel like for graduation I need something like really foolproof and simple and something that I just know like works well. So for graduation I chose ABH Modern Renaissance. This is a palette that I have used countless times. I know how the shadows perform, I know how they play together, I know my favorite looks to create with this palette, and that's kind of what I need on graduation. I feel like I can keep things looking a little bit more professional. I'm graduating from business school, so I feel like I should look more professional. Like maybe I shouldn't show up with like pink eyeshadow on that day. But I know this palette, it's a staple palette. If things are crazy for the rest of that day and I only have like a very limited amount of time to get ready, I know I can count on this palette to create a polished look that I will not look back on in 10 years and be like, ugh, what was I wearing? What was I thinking? Alright, you guys, next up we have Christmas Day, and this was a really fun one for me to do as well. I know a lot of people are saying like, I don't really wear makeup on Christmas Day, I just kind of stay in my pajamas. I actually almost always do my makeup on Christmas Day. My family opens presents together in the morning, and then I go over to my boyfriend's family's house to celebrate with his family because they do like the whole shebang on Christmas Day. And so I'm almost always doing my makeup on Christmas. I feel like over the years I've worn less and less makeup on Christmas because I don't know, I guess I'm getting lazy. But I'm thinking, you know what, like what kind of look do I usually like to go for? I like to go for something like a little bit glam. Like it's a very casual family gathering, but I love eyeshadow and I love any excuse to do my makeup. And I was thinking like glam, but like toned down glam. And the first palette that I thought of was the Persona Identity 2 palette. This is such a beautiful jewel tone palette, you guys. I love this palette for so many reasons. It's like really mindless to use. It has like these two, well I guess there's 3 staple mattes right here, and I feel like you just pair those with one of the shimmery shades and you're good to go right out the door. But I also love this palette because I can create like a really super simple matte in the crease, this all of the lid look, and be out the door. Super low key, super simple. Or if I'm feeling a little sassy, if I'm feeling a little glam, I can go in with either this like green jewel tone or this really pretty like garnet jewel tone and be like a little bit festive but not like over the top festive. It's just like the right amount of glam for Christmas Day. So this is the palette that I chose for that. Alright you guys, next up we have a birthday party, and I just kind of took this as my birthday party. I feel like it might be similar for someone else's birthday party as well, but for my birthday I want to wear the tones that I feel the absolute best in, and for me those are those peachy warm tones. The Sigma Quarter Rosa palette would work beautifully for that. This year on my birthday, it was last weekend, I actually wore the Goddess palette from Alter Ego that I mentioned a few minutes ago. But if I was like planning out ahead what palette I would wear, it would probably be the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. So this is like the most beautiful, super saturated warm tone palette. I just love how bright and how beautiful these warm tones are. I feel so good every single time I wear this palette because I feel like it just makes my eyes pop so much. And as I said, when I celebrate, I like to eat. So I like to keep the focus on my eyes, not on my lips. And this is one of my favorite palettes to work with when I want to do that. I feel like I just pop this orange in the crease, that beautiful berry on kind of the outer half of my lid, blend it out with like this shade, and then pop one of these shimmers over the lid, and like my eyes look so blue and I feel so good. And so this is probably the palette I would choose. The next prompt was going to the office, and when I think of like going to the office makeup, I had an office job last summer. Well, I guess it's fall now, so like 2 summers ago. And I just wanted like super simple, super quick out the door makeup and like mindless makeup. And for that, a lot of times I reach into my Give It To Me Straight palette from ColourPop. This is just a really like basic, easy to wear, neutral, natural palette. I really love these key mattes right here. Actually, this is my favorite matte shadow. I almost have pan on this one. But I love those because they're like really easy. Just toss them in the crease with a fluffy brush. Throw one of these gorgeous coppery shades or this golden shade all over the lid. Deepen up the outer corners a little bit with one of these. You could even get away with one of those. They don't come off super saturated in like bright berry. And you're out the door. And that's really what I think I would look for if I was going back to an office job. Well, technically I am in an office job right now, but I'm not really wearing eyeshadow to it. I'm very lazy in the mornings. But if I were to go back to that setting on like a regular basis and wear eyeshadow to it, this is what I would wear. The next prompt is running errands / your go-to every day. So I decided to go with more of the running errands side of this prompt. And I know this is gonna sound super weird because it is super weird, but like if we go like run errands on like a Sunday, I kind of love that excuse to take time to do my makeup, or I used to, I guess. I'm really not wearing a whole lot of makeup when we run errands anymore just because of my mask and maskne, and it's just a whole thing. But before, I would kind of take a little bit of pleasure in doing my makeup and creating like a simple but really polished look that looks like, you know what, I didn't spend 30 minutes doing this, but I really did. And for that, I thought the Huda Beauty Nude Light Palette would be absolutely perfect, you guys. This would be another really great office palette. It is slightly more colorful than the Give It To Me Straight palette. It has those few pops of like purple and pink and slightly mauvey purpley tones, but it is just so beautiful. These tones play so well together, like way better than I thought they would. I got this palette in the mail and I was like, that's like a super warm chocolate brown and that's like purple. How is that gonna look on my eyes? Is that gonna be weird? But I've worn them together many times and I think they just create a really beautiful kind of ethereal look. It looks really polished, and I really like the looks that I get out of this palette. So that's what I would choose for running errands or my go-to every day. Alright you guys, the last prompt is New Year's Eve, and this one was actually the first like prompt that I was like, that's the palette I'm doing for that. And that is the Dose of Colors Friendcation palette from Desi and Katie. Well, it's the collaboration that they did. It's from Dose of Colors. And like the glitter shadows in this palette, that's what drew me to this palette. This was also a candidate for birthday palette and girls night out. I love a good glittery blue smoky eye, or like this olive. So pretty for fall, but I love glitter. I would wear it on an everyday basis, but like New Year's Eve, I definitely feel the urge to bust it out like in full force. So this was the first palette that I thought of for that. But that's gonna wrap up this video, you guys. I tag anyone who has a channel to do it, or if you guys don't have a channel or an Instagram page, feel free to do it in the comments down below. I think this is such a fun tag to do. I love thinking about hypothetical scenarios and where I would wear each palette, even though like You should just wear your palettes when you want to wear them. You don't need an occasion to wear them. But still, I think it was super fun to do, and I would love to know your responses down below. That's gonna wrap it up for me. If you guys want some more eyeshadow related content from me, I will link a couple of my most recent eyeshadow related videos down below. But I'm gonna stop blabbering on for today, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!